Greetings. Live. Yes, I'm live. I'm back today. And if you've been following my daily Go Live, welcome back. And for those of you who might be joining in later and you're new and you watch the replay later, my name is Lily and this is the face behind this business profile page. And I'm a mama too, a son and a daughter, and I'm a wife. I'm a Pacific Islander, originally from Fiji, and last year my husband retired from his work and we moved back to the States. Yes, he's American, so that's why we moved back here. And my professional background, if you've been following me or if you read my bio, my professional background is nursing. And I have more than 30 years of nursing experience. And yes, I'm back today. And this is our Team Go Live Challenge. And if you've been following, today is, let me see, what day is it? And I know you'll see it there in the caption. It's day 17 and it's June the 10th. And every day we come, our team come up with, it's been prepared by our coach, and every day we share one topic, and it's either a statement that we share or a question in relates to our online business. So yes, I am a nursepreneur, mompreneur, or you can say an online entrepreneur. Yes, and I have joined this online business journey since last year, August, and looking back, I haven't regretted the step that I took, and I'm back today with my Go Live, and the goal of this Go Live is just to share with you our journey, and maybe it will enlighten you with some of the questions that you may have or something that you might know. But then, aside from that, this is something that, we are not hiding this business from anybody. We are sharing. We are sharing it with you. And if you are skeptical, that's fine. Do your due diligence. Do your own research. Find out, do your own thing. And then come back and share what you have learned. But if you've been following me, I know some of you, I invited you to join. I invited you to follow my page, but some of you found me, stumbled across my post on social media. And yes, this online business, we do attraction marketing. So yes, we don't bug people. You will never expect a call from me. You will never expect a message from me to join this business. That's not how we operate. And this business model, it's a business in a box model. So everything is prepared, There is training, there is coaching, and there is an automated system that is there working in the background while you're doing your thing. So if you're working and if you're joining me on this journey, you're following me on this journey, remember that I'm not telling you to leave your job and join this. This is a business that allows the right people to come to us. You have to be intentional to join this business. You have to be hungry to join this business. So if you're hungry, that brings us to today's topic. And today's topic is why having a plan B matters. Why does it matter for your future, or for my future? And if you've been following, my story as a Pacific Islander, we were raised, we were family oriented, faith-based, community oriented. Everything was like, just like that. We were all, and we always depended on each other, financially, spiritually, physically, mentally, and all that. But then again, I could be wrong because I've left home many years ago. And, this world has changed, and so do people, and so do lifestyle and all that. But one thing that struck me about this topic today, that's why I just started talking as I went live, because I never thought about a plan B. Just the term, plan B. I never thought about it until last year when I moved to the US. It's like most of us have savings. If you're lucky, you have savings. But then I wouldn't say you're unlucky that you don't have savings, because we all have a story. We all, our life is different. Our journey is different. So I have respect for whatever your journey and whatever your story is, And when we moved here last year, and currently, my professional background is nursing, but currently I'm not practicing. So, my degrees, my master's, what am I doing with that? It's just a piece of paper. It's not something that my children or my future grandchildren can inherit. No. So when I moved here last year, I felt so isolated, to be honest. There was so much unfamiliarity in my new home, in my new so-called home. Not that it was my first time in the States. We always come in and out every year until, it sure is a difference when you just visiting than to actually reside, to actually live here, it's different. So anyway, when I moved here, but I had found out about this business through a colleague online. But I held off because, we were fixing to leave. So, I didn't want to be overwhelmed mentally. So when I was here, then when I took that leap of faith and joined the business, then I realized, wow, we sure do need a plan B. I never knew that there was a thing called plan B. Maybe I was just looking in the wrong places, and to share this, it relates to the business. Why having a plan B matters for your future. And then this is when I realized that, wow, the plan B really does matter, because you know what? Life doesn't always follow the route we planned. That was, yes, I had some saving. I had some investments, but the market is so bad today. It just fluctuates, and depending on what you invest on, based on the market, you lose. You lose a lot. And then when it recovers, and sometimes the market dips again, you lose again. So, yes, investments are good, but I didn't invest in those risky ones, I'm that safe kind of investor, I invest in long-term safety stuff. So, life doesn't always follow the route we plan. Yes, you plan, but then sometimes planning is subject to change. You always have to be prepared for that change. My route was, I cannot tell you everything. I had bigger dreams in terms of my professional background. But then when my husband decided to retire, I had to adapt to that, because as a spouse, you have to operate together. You have to coexist. You cannot just do your own thing. And that's when I said, wow, this is my plan, but now this. So this is why you need a plan B, because whatever your plans are is subject to change based on the market, based on what? Your job, based on circumstances that may change, your health, physically, mentally, you never know. So plan B, I'm not telling you, it isn't about giving up, isn't giving up on your dreams. Plan B is about preparing for what's unexpected, In life nowadays, it's like there's so much going on that Sometimes tomorrow things just change suddenly. Something that you never expected. Your plan can be very perfect. But always put an insert there. What if something changes, And today, job uncertainty is very high. You can lose your job. Even as a nurse, so many nurses, if the money is small, they kind of say, okay, we're going to get rid of this many people because it has happened to nurses. It has happened to healthcare workers. So circumstances change. Priorities change. So you need a plan B, So when I talk about plan B here, I'm talking about the financial aspect of the plan, okay? I'm not just saying that it's different from planning, but most of our planning exists around the finances too, Your planning coexists with your financial status, okay? So having another path, which is, for me, this online business, at least it brings a peace of mind, for me. I'm number 2 of 6 siblings. I was the first to graduate college. And ever since I graduated, ever since I started working, I've always sent money home. When I left home, I've always sent money home. I worked in Fiji for 9 years before I left. I've always sent money home. It was like, I don't want to say it's mandatory, but I know the need. I know that my parents needed that extra from me. And it was a blessing that I was able to do that. If you're one person that's able to send money home, don't say that, oh, it's mandatory, oh, I have to because, take it as a blessing that you are able to piecemeal that paycheck and send it to your loved one, That's a blessing that one day you'll say, oh, wow, not very many people can do that. So having another path can bring peace of mind, So when I started this business, it was more about my frame of reference, how I was brought up, depending on each other. And when I came to the U.S. and I'm not working, it's like, okay, so what now? What are they going to depend on? So my biggest why, the why as in capital, why I joined this business, I wanted to break that cycle of dependency for the future generation, our future generation, my future generation, and my siblings, my nieces, nephews. They have to know that we shouldn't be depending on each other nowadays. We should work. We should, find a way to make money so that we can all, not only just depend, but coexist and help build each other up and not just stressing out, Because most of the cause of death today is related to stress, the later disease, I'm saying this because I'm a nurse, but I can, to me, it's more of the stress, If I tell you, hey, you got diabetes, the doctor said you've been diagnosed, I don't think the disease is killing you slowly. It's the stress that, oh my gosh, the doctor said I got diabetes, that, well, research can prove that, but I'm just saying it's that stress, knowing that you now got this NCD. So for me, it was something that I was intentional about it. I was hungry for that plan B because I know I needed to still continue to help family back home, and also my future generation. And that this plan B, my children can inherit the day I'm no longer around, So, I mentioned earlier on my degrees and all that. My children cannot inherit that, but this business, yes. So, another thing about, why it's important to have a plan B. Plan B gives you options instead of pressure. When you have a plan B, you are not too pressured when you need to help somebody financially, or you need to do something. You need to travel. It opens so many options for you. If you're working, you might just scale back your hours. You might be able to say, well, I'll work this many hours, and I need to spend more time with family. Because what's something that I have come to realize joining this business was we are all hungry to make more money, but realizing that the money that we are all hungry for is just a tool for us to have options like more time with your family, more time to travel, more time to do what you love to do. So yes, money is good, but money is what buys the option of time and all the other freedom that we all have been, looking for. So it's not about fear, Plan B is about, hi, Fianga. Oh, talofa, bula. Yeah. Yeah, you like the morning hairstyle? I know it's not very pretty, but I have to show up and, do my thingy. Talofa. Oh, I hope you have a blessed day, my sister. It's early afternoon for me. Waftai lasi for joining. Oh, that's the beauty about this online business. Not only that, I'm able to do my online marketing, but I was able to reconnect with people, with friends who became family, my Tuvaluan sisters that I met in college. And social media has its pros and cons, but you have to make the choices, So, at my age, I'm not there to look for, all the silliness and all that on social media. But I've realized that social media is the new currency, People are making money online. People are making money on social media. So this online business, it's social media marketing, We do attraction marketing. So we attract people. We don't pressure people. We don't knock on your door and tell you to join us. So having Plan B is not about fear. It's about being prepared for the uncertain circumstances, the changes in life. So, oi, Faftai, for you non-Tuvaluan speakers, she's saying that my hairstyle looks good. Oi, see? At least I still remember the language. Guys, I spoke Tuvaluan language just connecting with my Tuvaluan sisters in college. And, I'm glad to reconnect with some of them. And, to refresh all those vocabs that I may have lost over the years, I'm not growing younger. So anyway, this Plan B, we have to adapt to a Plan B, because when changes come, or have a blessed day in your morning shift, my sister, starting soon, yes, go out there, get those skates on and roller skate in the ward. Be safe. Have a blessed day, my sister. Have a blessed day. Thank you for joining. Say hi to everybody, Liliu, everybody. Love you all, my sister. Love you all. God bless you. So yeah, people who adapt often navigate challenges more smoothly. So I adapted, I took on this business, and I said that, what, I have to, I'm a Pacific Islander. If I was able to cross the ocean and come this far, I should be able to navigate through the challenges, through the circumstances that change for me. Yes, so I'm here. So one stream of income, if you are working, bless your heart, keep that job. But let me tell you, find a second stream of income. You need a Plan B. Because what if that job you have, what if something happens, not to the job, but to you or to the economy, or, just think of something that happens to that. What's your Plan B? And you can also ask me the question, well, Lily, you said you're no longer practicing. What if something happens to your plan B? Well, I'll come back to your plan A. So I'm telling you, find a plan B. But then if you ask me, well, Lily, if you're telling me a plan B, what if something happens to my plan B? Well, I can still go back to be a nurse, Once a nurse, you'll always be a nurse. So one stream of support is good. But you know what's best? Multiple streams. What I discovered about this online business, you can actually make 5 streams of income just by joining, But you have to be intentional to join. You have to be hungry enough that you can be teachable, you can be coachable, and you can be consistent if you want to grow. You have to be open to change, because change doesn't happen unless you change, So your future deserves more than one possibility. If you have a job, you are blessed. If you are working, you are blessed. But let me tell you, look for a plan B. I'm not telling you that this is the only plan B in life. I am sharing you this plan B because you know what? Isn't it funny? I was born in a gold mine town in Fiji. There is a gold mine town in Fiji. Yes, we do mining in Fiji. But joining this business, I realized that this is a gold mine. It's an online gold mine. The difference is there's no digging, We're just leveraging. We're just doing attraction marketing. And we just allow the right, gold miners to find us or to come to us. So you don't, let me just close with a thought. For me, I'll always relate my conversation, my journey to a Pacific Islander. So it will involve canoes, the ocean, because yes, I crossed the ocean, The only difference, I didn't come on a canoe. I came on a plane, okay? So you don't build a canoe after the storm arrives, okay? So after the storm arrives, it's too late. You build it before the storm arrives. You build it while the water is calm. Let me say that again. You don't build a canoe after the storm arrives. You build it while the water is calm. And that's the time to cross it, right? But when the storm arrives and you're in a canoe, your plan B is what's going to give you a peace of mind. So what's your plan B? If plan A suddenly changes tomorrow, drop it in the comments. What's your plan B? If you don't have one, think about it and then drop it in the comments. What's your plan B? If plan A suddenly changes tomorrow, we're talking about tomorrow, so I'm giving you time to think about it. Let's talk about the reality, the reality of life. So, do you have a plan B? Share yes or working on it. So, the first question is, what's your plan B if plan A suddenly changes tomorrow? Drop it in the comments. But if you have a plan B, share yes or working on it. If you don't have, share it in the comments. Let's see. So if you watch the replay, please post replay and your answers and where you're watching it from. Because I'll be back tomorrow. And if you're wondering, if you've been following, or if you have just recently followed me, if you want to know more, if you are really hungry and you are really intentional, that's why you followed me, subscribe to my website. Put your name in your email. Watch those free webinars. Watch it, watch it. That's what you need to hear. Watch those testimonials. This is a gold mine. The only difference, it's a virtual gold mine. And it works for people who are intentional and hungry. You know, we are not here to pressure you. We are not here to force you. But the thing is, we are here to share with you what we have found. So have a good day. Enjoy your day. And like I've always said, make sure to enjoy life, because life is short, life is precious, and life is fragile. This is Lily. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.